Welcome to my channel. Try to hear the latest story.
My wife announced we should end our marriage before I lost my self-respect. Then left with a stranger I'd never met and boasted about it in a private chat group. I didn't challenge her, just acted swiftly. I filed for divorce, secured our finances, and sent her attorney a polite copy of the chat records. Within 72 hours, her entire plan unraveled, and her lawyer was the one desperately reaching out to me. I can still picture her face when she said it. No anger, no sorrow, just indifference. We should end this marriage before you lose your self-respect. It was a Sunday morning, and we were at the kitchen table, her coffee mug paused mid-air. So casual, as if she were suggesting we check out a new cafe. 8 years of marriage, gone in a single sentence. I asked the obvious question. Why? We're not the same anymore, she said, placing her mug precisely on the coaster. I need things you can't provide. She didn't clarify what those things were, and she didn't have to. The night before, while she was in the shower, a notification had flashed on her phone. A message from someone labeled T, with a dark heart emoji. Can't wait to see you again. Next weekend's too far away. I'd never snooped through her phone before. I'd never needed to. But that night, a cold certainty gripped me when she came home late from a girls' night, wearing a scent she hadn't worn when she left. After she dropped her bombshell and left for an urgent meeting, I did what any cybersecurity expert would. I secured our digital trail. Our router tracks every device connection. Our shared cloud retains deleted files for 30 days. Our home cameras store footage for 60. I'm not possessive by nature, never have been. But I'm meticulous. What I found wasn't shocking, just thorough. Location data showing her at a downtown hotel 6 times in the past month. Texts with her friend Sarah about T, and how to execute her exit plan. Calendar entries marked as errands that matched her phone's location at that hotel. Most incriminating was a private WhatsApp group with 3 friends, synced to our shared family tablet. A device she'd forgotten was linked to her account. For months, they'd been her cheerleaders as she described her fling with Theo, a yoga instructor from her gym, who was everything unlike dull, predictable Ethan. Does he suspect anything? One friend asked. Ethan's too buried in his tech work to notice, she replied, tossing in a laughing emoji. Besides, we hardly connect anymore. When the divorce is done, he'll probably just shrug and dive back into his code. Another gem. Theo says I can crash at his place once I file. His loft's tiny, but we won't need much room, lol. And the clincher, sent just days ago. Meeting with Lisa tomorrow. She crushed her brother's divorce and will do the same to Ethan. Lisa, her old college friend, now a divorce lawyer known for ruthless tactics against high-income spouses. I saved screenshots of it all, downloaded every file, then carefully left her phone untouched on her nightstand. That night, she came home late again, casually mentioning a weekend trip to visit her cousin. Her cousin lives across 3 states. Her phone's location sharing, which she never turned off, would likely show her at Theo's instead. I nodded, wished her well, and went back to my laptop. The next morning, I called in a favor from Alex, a former client and one of the city's best divorce attorneys. I shared the evidence. Good God, Ethan, he said after reviewing it. She's gearing up to ambush you next week. Lisa's strategy is to file for emergency support based on inflated claims, catching the husband off guard. So what's the plan? I asked. We file first, today, and we do it discreetly. While my wife was at her midday Pilates class, her phone's location showing that same hotel, I signed the papers in Alex's office. By 2 p.m., we'd filed for divorce citing infidelity, with all evidence neatly compiled as exhibits. Then came the critical step. Alex sent a brief, courteous email to Lisa. I represent Ethan Carter in his divorce from Julia Carter. Attached is our filing from today, along with a small sample of evidence regarding your client's extramarital conduct. The small sample included the WhatsApp chats where Julia named Lisa and outlined their strategy. That night, Julia came home unusually cheerful, saying she'd be tied up with a big project for the next few days. I nodded, wished her luck, and mentioned I'd be swamped with work too. While she slept, I secured our financials without crossing legal lines. I removed her access to my personal credit card, not our joint one, and transferred my latest paycheck, untouched by household expenses, to my personal account from before our marriage. I also updated passwords on our investment accounts to block any sudden withdrawals. All moves were cleared by Alex as legal in our state. The next morning, after she left for work, Alex texted, Lisa called. Wants to discuss options before formal service. Interesting. I smiled, went about my day, and waited. By noon, Julia's text started. Did you mess with the visa? It's declined. Why can't I log into the Fidelity account? Ethan, call me now. I replied only to the last. In meetings all day. What's up? No response. At 3:20 p.m., she called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was curt, we need to talk. I'm coming home. I texted back, working late. Tomorrow's better. This bought me time to finalize my preparations. I packed a bag with essentials, moved it to my car, set up mail forwarding, and backed up all financial records. I spent the night at a hotel, ignoring her increasingly urgent texts. The next morning, Julia was served divorce papers at her office. The process server said she paled, then rushed outside to make a call. 30 minutes later, Alex called. Lisa wants to meet. Says it's a misunderstanding and we can settle this amicably. What changed? I asked, already knowing. Apparently, Lisa didn't realize how thorough your evidence was. She's worried about ethical violations, given the documented strategy talks involving her. She's pushing for a fast, clean settlement. I thought about the years I'd poured into our marriage, the dreams we'd shared, the future I'd trusted. Tell her we'll meet tomorrow. No hurry. That day, my phone lit up with calls. From Julia, unknown numbers, even her father. I answered none. I checked into another hotel, ordered dinner, and slept better than I had in months. The next day's meeting was quick. Julia wouldn't meet my eyes. Lisa was all business. Alex laid out our terms. 1. Equitable asset split based on contributions. 2. No spousal support. 3. Clean break, minimal drama. 4. Initial agreement within 72 hours to set intentions, with final divorce processing to follow standard timelines. Your client keeps her reputation intact, Alex concluded. My client moves forward without a drawn-out fight. Win-win. After a hushed discussion, Lisa agreed. We'll review and respond by tomorrow. Julia finally spoke, her voice sharp. Can we talk alone? I glanced at Alex, who gave a slight shrug. Nothing to discuss, I said, collecting my things. The papers cover everything. In the parking lot, Julia caught up to me. You went through my phone? She demanded, voice trembling. No, I said. You brought your affair into our home network, which I manage. Into our cloud, which I set up. It was all there without touching your phone. Those were private messages. On systems and accounts I built and paid for, I countered, unlocking my car. Just like you've been with your yoga instructor in a home funded by my work while plotting to ambush me with a divorce. It wasn't like that, she began, then faltered. Theo's not just my instructor. I know exactly who he is, I said. The guy whose loft is too small for your stuff. The one you planned your exit with. The one who's not answering your calls now that things are messy. Her expression confirmed it. You said we should divorce before I lost my self-respect. I continued, opening my car door. Thanks for the advice. I'm following it. Within 48 hours, we signed the settlement. No spousal support, fair asset split, clean break. That was 6 weeks ago. I've moved into a new place, changed my personal email, and joined a different gym. Haven't spoken to Julia since the parking lot. Through friends, I heard she didn't move in with Theo after all. Apparently, he's taking space to deal with his own issues. Translation: he wanted a fling, not a live-in partner. Last week, a handwritten letter from her arrived at my office. I recognized her script on the envelope. After a moment's thought, I fed it, unopened, into the shredder. Some chapters don't need a closing note. Update: 5 weeks later, I wasn't planning to update, but new developments call for it. First, thanks for the support. The comments calling me ruthless or overly strategic made me chuckle. When your spouse is cheating and scheming to blindside you, strategy is the only rational response. Some asked about Julia's family's reaction. Her father called repeatedly that first week, leaving voicemails about saving the marriage and not throwing away 8 years. I finally picked up and said, ask Julia about Theo. The calls stopped. Her older sister, who I was always close with, texted. Heard what went down. She's always been like this. Sorry, man. We grabbed drinks last week. She's still like family, even if Julia isn't. The biggest news. Lisa, Julia's attorney, is facing professional fallout. Apparently, strategizing aggressive divorce tactics with a non-client raises ethical red flags. Per Alex, she's under scrutiny by the state bar. Play reckless games, win reckless consequences. As for Theo, Julia's plan to move in with him collapsed when reality hit. Her sister says Theo claimed he needed time to process and was dealing with personal stuff. 2 weeks after our divorce finalized, he was already dating someone new from the gym. Julia's been projecting regret through various channels. Another letter, emails, messages via friends. The tone shifted from "you blindsided me" to "you don't know everything to please just talk." I've stayed silent, not out of spite, but because there's nothing left to say. Her latest move was sending a package to my office with keepsakes from our marriage. Old concert stubs, photos from our early days, a bracelet I'd thought I'd lost during a move years ago. The note read, "Found these while packing. Thought you'd want them." I donated the bracelet to a charity auction, shredded the photos, and carried on. Some asked if I'm dating again. Not yet. I'm focusing on rebuilding, new place, new workout routine, reconnecting with friends I lost touch with during the marriage. I'm also exploring a career opportunity one couldn't have considered with Julia, who always insisted on staying near her family. The divorce finalized smoothly. The evidence was so airtight her side had no leverage. Did I ever confront her about everything I uncovered? No. The filing and evidence spoke for themselves. Words would have just fueled drama. For those asking about red flags I missed, there were subtle hints. Her phone suddenly password protected, a new obsession with yoga after years of avoiding exercise, outfits I never saw her wear, girls' weekends with vague social media posts. Nothing obvious until that notification lit up her phone. One comment called my response too perfect and questioned if this was real. When your career is risk assessment and data security, precision is second nature. I didn't scream, trash her car, or stage a showdown. I evaluated the situation, collected data, consulted an expert, and acted decisively. Life's not a drama series. Sometimes the best move is protecting yourself quietly and moving forward with your principles intact. Quick answers to common questions: yes, we had a prenup, but the settlement we reached made it mostly irrelevant, as she signed to avoid public exposure of the evidence. No kids were involved, which simplified things. To those saying I should have fought for the marriage, what was there to fight for? A relationship where my wife was unfaithful and plotting to ambush me? That's not worth saving. About the snooping accusations, I never touched her phone after that initial notification. All evidence came from our shared network, cloud, and location data she never disabled. Your digital trail is bigger than you think. Did I suspect Theo specifically? In hindsight, yes. He texted her during dinners, always brushed off as gym questions or work stuff. She mentioned him too often, too casually. Classic signs I missed in the moment. Final takeaway: trust actions, not words. Julia said she loved me, but her behavior told a different story. I stayed silent in those final days, but my actions ensured I walked away with my security and self-respect intact. In the end, what we do matters more than what we say.